Hi, my name is Aisha, and for my psychology final project, I analyzed the article about culture and social support. Starting with the article summary, my first main point was about what exactly is social support and why is it important for us. Social support is information from others that one is loved and cared for, esteemed and valued, and part of a network of communication and mutual obligations. So, social support can be simply talking to your friends, talking to your family, or talking to a support group. Some of the benefits of it are that it can reduce psychological distress, like depression or anxiety. It is associated with a variety of physical health benefits like diabetes, lung disease, cardiac disease, cancer, and arthritis, and it can reduce the likelihood of illness and speed up the recovery of illnesses. It can also reduce the risk of mortality from serious diseases. Lack of social support during someone's stressful times, it can be very extra distressing, especially for people with higher needs of social support and who are able to obtain it naturally. So there are two types of social support, and the first one is implicit social support, which is emotional comfort one can obtain from social networks without disclosing, or discussing their own problems in regard to their specific stressful situations. So this can mean reminding oneself of your close others or being in the company of those close others without actually disclosing your personal problems. Based on research and evidence in the article, it is shown that implicit social support may be more beneficial for Asians and Asian Americans or people that come from that culture. And another type is explicit social support, which is people-specific recruitment and uses of their social networks, the people around them, in response to stressful events that involve disclosing personal information. So this can include giving someone advice, aid, or just emotional comfort. And it is shown in studies that European Americans definitely benefit more from explicit social use than implicit, just based on our cultures. My second main point is that people from different cultures receive, and benefit from social support in many different ways, depending on the culture that they come from and the assumptions and norms that they have. So, in an individualistic culture, like in the US and many European countries, the assumptions there include that one's sense of self is viewed as independent, and we all possess a set of attributes that express our personal beliefs and goals. One person is expected to make their own decisions, and relationships are thought to be freely chosen and to entail few obligations. Conversely, and in collectivist culture, like in many parts of Asia, assumptions include that sense of self is viewed as interdependent, so among other people. A person is a flexible, connected entity that is bound to others, and one considers group goals as primary and then personal beliefs, needs, and goals as secondary. Based on those assumptions, people in individualistic cultures may ask for social support with little caution because they share the assumption in their culture that individuals should go out and proactively pursue their well-being, and that others have the freedom to choose to help according on their own volition. So it's up to somebody if they want to give somebody advice, and it's up to somebody if they want to go out and find advice. But in more collectivist cultures, people tend to be more cautious about bringing up personal problems to the attention of others, in the purpose of enlisting their help, because they share the cultural assumption that people should not burden their social networks and their social people with a sense of obligation to help them. So they share this same sense of social obligation. And my third main point is that these cultural differences in the ways that people go out and look for social support, this can then result in further implications for when intercultural interactions happen, and this can be at an individual or an institutional level. So the article followed a lot of research and experiments surrounding subjects of a European American culture and subjects of an either Asian culture or an Asian American cultures. And following a lot of the research, there was a clear hypothesis stated that individuals from Asian and Asian American cultural contexts may prefer providing more implicit and indirect support, such as simply being there for someone without discussing the issue at hand. So this goes back to the idea of collectivist cultures and the assumptions that they have. And then this is versus individuals from a European American culture who may prefer providing more explicit and direct support, such as focusing on someone's issues and offering specific words of encouragement or specific advice for somebody with their problem. What we get after interaction among individuals from these two groups, it could result in a possibility of mismatch between the support needed and the support provided, meaning that when these two people, when someone is seeking social support or someone is trying to give social support to somebody of a different culture, some of those levels aren't being met for people because the types of support that people get in their cultures and the way that people give support in other cultures are different. So there can be some mismatch and needs that are unmet. We have some connections to the textbook in this article, including in section 12.2 of the textbook, where they talk about self-presentation, including social roles, social norms, and a script that somebody has in a lifetime. In this article, there was a lot of discussion about how cultures have varying senses of self, which in turn help to predict how one will go out and seek support from their social network. In section 11.8 of the textbook, cultural understandings of personalities are discussed through the values of both individualist cultures and collectivist cultures. So in this article, we talked about how those cultures tend to affect the way that we go out and look for social support and the way that we provide social support. In the textbook, they talked about how these cultures affect our personality, which is hand in hand with how this article is talking about it. And some real life situations and examples. So going back to the mismatch of support needed versus support provided, in some of the Western countries, like the United States, it can be often an issue where a cultural minority's seeming lack of advice seeking could be wrongly interpreted as a sign of satisfaction or contentment by their supervisor, who may be European American. So this means that someone possibly from a collectivist culture working at a place may not feel the tendency to disclose issues that they have or to speak up about things because that's not how it is in their culture. So there's often times where issues can go undetected and needs aren't met by their supervisors in the workplace. And when it comes to people who prefer implicit social support, where they want to be surrounded by a socially supportive group without actually having to discuss their personal problems and stressors, some good support options for them would be a get-together among friends or family, a book club, dance class, or even a potluck could be good options of social support for them. And when it comes to someone who prefers explicit social support, where they want to talk about those specific stressors and get specific advice from their social networks, these people might benefit from a therapy session, venting to friends or family, or even sharing out their issues at a local support group with hopes of advice or just people who want to listen. And that's all I have today. Thank you so much for watching, and please reply to my post if you have any thoughts, comments, or just something to say.